Hello everyone, and welcome to Shell Point Today for Monday, June 20th. I'm Dan Philgreen. On today's show, we will talk about the benefits of acupuncture and this week's Health Connections class that will teach you all about it. Jazz and Stuff will take a summer break after their concert on Wednesday, and we'll give you an inside look at the band on the show today. But first, we'd like to remind you of a concert tomorrow evening at the Grand Cypress Room at the Woodlands. Described as a tour de force of acoustic music, Joe Scott and Hannah Elkire will showcase their talents on the double net gitcho and with the cello. They call themselves Acoustic Eidolon, and this married couple have entertained thousands at national and international venues with their stellar performances. The concert begins at 7 p.m. tomorrow evening, so make plans to come on out. On Thursday of this week, it's time for the monthly meeting of the Aviation Club. This month, the club is honored to host a panel of Shell Point residents who served in World War II as pilots. Each will share his personal story of flight in the defense of the United States. Everyone is welcome to come and hear their wonderful stories beginning at 1:15 p.m. in the Osprey Room on the island. Also, on Thursday evening, there will be a movie outing to Bonita Springs at the Prado Stadium Theater. It will be a unique upscale movie-going experience where you can enjoy courtyard seating and great food at the Cine Grill, including gourmet cheese platters, flatbread pizzas, and unique beverages. The cost of the outing is $8 with movies and food on your own. Cord pickups begin at 5:15 on the island and sign-up is required. Acupuncture is a medical protocol that focuses on correcting imbalances in the body. It has been used traditionally to prevent, diagnose, and treat disease, as well as to improve general health. Studies indicate that acupuncture can help relieve chronic low back pain, dental pain, migraine headaches, fibromyalgia, and symptoms of osteoarthritis. Sound too good to be true? Well, let's listen to what physician Robert Murdoch has to say as he visits with Heather Batty to tell us more about acupuncture.
Hi, I'm Heather Batty with Resort Services. Today I have a special guest for our upcoming Health Connection. I have acupuncture physician Robert Murdoch. You have a really neat presentation coming up called Benefits of Acupuncture.
Well, thank you.
Thank you for being here.
It's my pleasure.
What, first off, is acupuncture?
Well, acupuncture is the use of tiny needles placed into the skin at specific points that are known to change physiology. It's used really to re-educate the body to function as it should, or closer to how it should. So various results of acupuncture include better healing, better circulation, better digestion, better respiration. A lot of organ systems benefit from acupuncture and yeah.
How deep do the actual little needles go?
It depends. Depends on the location on the body. For instance, on the hands and the fingers, it might be just 1/10 of an inch. On the belly or, low back, it might be a little deeper. And it depends on how much fat a person has as well. Yeah.
Now, does it hurt?
Generally not. If a lot of people, their response after treatment is that it? Really? Because the needles are so fine and they're very well made, very, very smooth and good tip. It's generally very comfortable, and there are certain techniques that we use to keep it comfortable. For instance, on the hands and the feet, it can sometimes feel like a pinch, but usually it's very comfortable.
So, but you don't bleed at all from this?
Sometimes, but rarely.
Okay.
There are certain needle techniques where we leave the needles in and some where we don't leave the needles in very long. And if we leave the needles in a little longer, and if it's in certain places where there's a lot of vascularity, like the ears, for instance, you might get a little drop of blood, but that's rare.
Yeah. So if I say, you came in, how does a typical appointment, you would come in with an ailment?
Right.
Is it just a one-time session, or do you normally need to continue having acupuncture to see results or significant change?
It really depends on a few factors. One factor is how susceptible the patient is to acupuncture. Some people respond very, very well, very quickly, and other people it's more work. Another factor is the condition. For instance, if a person has just sprained their back, it's easier to get them, back on top and working well. But if a person's had a stroke, they may need like 20 or 30 treatments to get them walking again, or being able to use their fingers again. So it varies.
It all depends.
Yeah.
Just like any kind of thing you're going to get done. I've heard it's also useful for things like anxiety or stress or depression. Is that also true?
It really is. It really is. People feel quite relaxed during and after treatment. Most people come away going, it's like they've had a massage. That sort of thing.
Okay.
I remember my father, let's see, he'd become ill, and he'd been on antidepressants for decades. And at any time he tried to come off his antidepressants, he'd relapsed badly. And I started treating him, and he asked about his antidepressants. I said, well, wait until you're feeling better.
Right.
Then we can start, weaning you off. And then a couple of weeks later, he said, oh, by the way, I've stopped my antidepressants.
Wow.
And I feel fine. I said, well, from now on, do as I say.
Right. It was the child then telling the father
Yes,
to do.
exactly.
And how often then did your father's treatment? Was it a daily, weekly?
I was treating him once a week.
Okay. So it is not something that has to be every single day.
That does vary. That does vary.
Okay.
If someone's in a very critical state, I'll give you an example. There's a hospital in China in an area where there are a lot of mines.
Right.
And I'm not sure that the safety conditions in the mines are as good as here. But so that the miners that are injured in cave-ins, if they have spinal conditions, spinal injury, they have acupuncture every day.
Oh, wow.
So, that sort of acute and very traumatic issue, you benefit from every day. Most people, we start once a week. Okay. Some people who have a little more frail health, we'd work on them a couple of times a week.
Wow, it's all very interesting.
And then as people get better, it's less and less frequently.
Right, absolutely. Well, we don't want to share too much because we want them to come into the presentation. So make sure you come and sign up at either service desk. It's Benefits of Acupuncture on June 22nd. It's at 10:15 in the Social Center. I know I'm certainly going to be there. So thank you, and stay happy and healthy.
This Wednesday at 2:30 in the Grand Cypress Room will be the final concert of the season for Shell Point's very own Jazz and Stuff. They will be taking their yearly hiatus until August 17th. Here's an inside look at one of their recent concerts and some of the members of the band. Hi, it is Wednesday afternoon, and we are up in the Grand Cypress Room at the Woodlands. And since it's Wednesday afternoon, that means it's time for Jazz and Stuff, which has been going on in this room for 12 years, I guess it's been. And I have with me two of the founding members of Jazz and Stuff, Bill Johns and Pat Specht. And tell us a little bit about this whole group in the early days and where this came from.
I'll let Bill tell you.
Jazz and Stuff was started in 2003 by Dr. Bob McCullum, who lived in Lakewood. He was an avid harmonica player, and he loved to play the blues. And so he put out the word around Shell Point that he would like anybody interested to come over and join him in an impromptu music session, or a jam session as they call it. You know, the word jam is slang to musicians for improvise. So there were, 4 or 5 of us, Pat, I guess, were over here. in the Grand Cypress Room. Nobody was here, and for an hour, we met at 2:30, and for an hour we just sat around and played in an impromptu way. And we continued to meet after that. Well, over time, more musicians started to come in. They heard about what we were doing, and they would join up. Residents from the Commons down here, they would go by the room and hear something going on, so they'd stick their head in and see what it was, and they'd come in and sit around and watch what we were doing. Mm-hmm. So that was the beginning. Mm-hmm. And you fast forward to today, which is 12 years later. Right now we have 17 musicians on our roster. Mm-hmm. We will have an audience every Wednesday from 50 to 80 people. And we still play for an hour.
You know, it keeps people going too, because I've had people come up and tell me, you know, Pat, I felt really kind of down before I came, and after listening to all those songs that I knew when I was younger, I just feel so much better when I walk out the door. And that kind of makes it for me.
Yeah.
And I feel better after I get done playing all that stuff.
Music does that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, you know what? This is the last time Jazz and Stuff is meeting for this season, but come fall, the gang's going to be back here. The music is going to start up again, and it's something that if you haven't come on Wednesday afternoon, you really need to check it out. It's a lot of fun, and you really enjoy it. So check out Jazz and Stuff. So Carol DeLucia here has been coming just about every Wednesday for 12 years. Carol, why do you keep coming back?
Because it's wonderful. It's the highlight of my week.
Well, how about that?
Oh, it's marvelous. Marvelous.
Do they play your favorite songs?
Yes.
There we go. And you got your sheet there.
And that gentleman who plays the recorder is a very special friend of mine. So he always tells me ahead of time what he's going
Which
to play.
songs he's going to play.
Yeah,
All right.
Now, the only bad part is I love to dance.
Uh-huh.
And Bill won't let me get up and dance.
Oh, man. Chuck Durrell here is the Shell Point recorder specialist, are you not?
That is correct.
This man is the champion of the recorder for Shell Point musicians. So tell us about playing your recorder and the jazz and stuff. You know, you always find cool solo parts for your recorder.
Yes, usually have one or two solos that I play, and I started playing the recorder about 10 years ago, shortly after I moved here. Started off in the classical group, then I found out about the jazz group, so I joined them, and I was with them right from day one.
There we go.
It's anybody who wants to play.
So whatever you play, you know, you might break out that kazoo, folks, because there's a place for you at Jazz and Stuff.
That's right.
So you play only when someone needs you to fill in, or are you
Right.
most of the time?
No, when either Pat or Tom is out, I usually fill in.
Okay. So there's even room for part-timers.
There are. There are. The pay's not as good, though.
All right. The pay's not as good? Paul Goodwin is here. You've got your clarinet, Paul.
Right.
So tell me about how long have you been playing the clarinet?
Well, I used to play in high school
Yeah.
and college. And
Okay, wait a minute. Let me guess. You didn't play for a long time before you
Right.
came to Shell Point.
Well, I had a clarinet, but I rarely played it.
Okay.
And when I retired, my wife bought me a new one, but I still didn't play it
Yeah.
till I came here and I found this group, and I enjoyed playing with them.
Well, that's great.
And I'm 88, but I'm still active and everything.
Blowing and going, huh?
Yep.
All right. Kaz Obi, our trumpet player. Now Kaz is very high-tech here. I want you to see his rig here. He's got his music on his iPad, folks. This is just like downtown. So, he's not going to miss a beat. Not one beat.
It can be a lot of fun.
It is. It's great.
And the nice thing about the iPad is that you can, write in your own little things.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
But this jazz and stuff is so great because, where else can you get a whole bunch of people together who really often want to do better, but you got such a magnificent audience. They're just superb. I mean, I play for them.
Sure.
And
that's great.
I want to make sure that, you do a good job. Of course, all of us want to do a good job. But when you get those smiles, when you get the feet tapping, when you get the hands clapping, and when you get the humming, you know you're doing something right.
That makes it fun, doesn't it?
I'll tell you, it's just great.
Before you came to Shell Point, how much were you playing your trumpet?
0.
Pretty much 0, huh?
Right. I played
So-
it last time in college. And somebody said to my wife, Phyllis, gee, does either one of you play an instrument? She said, well, Jerry used to.
Yeah.
And then so we went to a pawn shop.
Yeah. Got yourself
Here
an
we
instrument.
are.
Fantastic.
So here we are.
So, is it as much fun now as it was in college?
Actually, it's more fun now.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we get paid for it.
Get paid? Wow. Like with cookies they see they got in the back?
That's it.
All right.
We played all year, and we have at least 2 cookies to show for.
2 cookies. So
Yeah.
you think if somebody maybe used to play an instrument and hasn't for a long time, this is a good excuse to pick it up again.
Yeah. The audition takes about 2 nanoseconds. So yeah, anybody
if
that plays.
if you have a pulse,
If you got a pulse and you got a horn, you're in.
you're in. There you go, folks. How can you go wrong?
If you don't have a horn, we'll find one for you.
Don, tell us what's your favorite thing about jazz and stuff.
Well, once in a while after we have refreshments, and that is really good. And I think today is one of those days.
One of these days. It's a banner day.
Yes. Jack and I enjoy playing duets, and Jerry Ingalls and I play duets, and so we have a lot of fun here.
Great.
Some real good musicians.
So I see you got some new gear on your kit here, Fritz. Tell us about
I
your
have
new.
some new gear. These are 3 different drums with different tones.
Yeah.
I'm going to try to play them today. I don't know whether it's going
right.
to work or not, but
Always something new.
okay. Yeah, I just
right.
bought these a couple of weeks ago, and we're going to give them a try.
Very cool.
Yeah.
And now it's time to cover all of Monday's happenings, Academy news, menus, and Village Church connections. Right after this Listening to the Words preview from David Howenstein.
Dads are the theme of this week's Listening to the Words program. From a Good Samaritan who reminds a father of a sometimes overlooked duty of a dad, to a well-known Shell Point storytelling father who ran into the red pencil in a story writing class. And from a grown-up son who still hasn't forgiven his father, to a young son whose simple question to his father was translated into pure love. Many of my regular listeners are aware of how much I love the descriptive parts of the stories I read on the program. You'll enjoy the scene setting in one of this week's stories when the author writes, "See us walking along the beach on a hazy morning, a family on vacation, Dad and Mom and the kids who are lithe and healthy looking. They search for shells. They watch a gull skimming the waves. They're happy here." David Howenstein reminding you that all these programs play all 7 days of the week with a new 30-minute program starting every Monday. Just tune to Shell Point Channel 12. And thank you for listening to the words, and happy Father's Day.
Hello, welcome to the Happening segment of Shell Point TV. I'm Bev Chandley.
And I'm Caitlin Van Scoy.
And we're here to tell you the activities that we offer for you here today at Shell Point. We're going to start with men's round robin tennis this morning down at the Woodlands Tennis Courts. That's at 8 o'clock. At 8:45, you'll find virtual bowling at the Resident Activity Center. We have billiards at the Resident Activity Center at 9:15. At 9:15, the lollygaggers paddlers leave from the kayak storage down by the marina. Also at 9:15, we have the pottery going on in the pottery studio. Men's match play tennis will be at 10 o'clock. Also at 10 o'clock, the Suzy Q will head to Matanzas on the Bay. You do need to sign up for those trips. The Disciple Men's Bible Study group will be in the game room of the Woodlands at 10:30. And at 10:45, we have table tennis with the playing clinic down in the Island Tunnel. We have a Health Connections class at 11:30, bar ball edition in the Tarpon Room, and that's currently full. That concludes the morning, and here's Caitlin to tell you what's going on this afternoon.
Thank you, Bev. We start at 12 o'clock with Mahjong in the Sable Room of the Woodlands. And at 12:45, we have a Health Connections class, Zumba Fitness in the Tarpon Room. That one is currently closed. Samba, the card game, will be played at 1:15 in the Resident Activity Center. And then we move to 1:45 for another Health Connections, Osteo Break Free, that's in the Tarpon Room. The Beady-Eyed Bead Club will be meeting at 2 o'clock in the Oak Room of the Woodlands. And 3 o'clock's the time for Pilates Stretch in the Tarpon Room. At 4 o'clock, Restless Legs is a Health Connections class that'll be held in the Grand Cypress Room of the Woodlands. 5 o'clock's the time for the singles table that'll be available at the Crystal Dining Room. And beginner square dancing will be held in the Tarpon Room at 6:30. Also at 6:30, Duplicate Bridge will be played in the game room of the Woodlands. And we round out our Monday at 7:30 with square dancing in the Tarpon Room. Well, we're so happy to see you here today. We'll see you right back here tomorrow.
Hi, I'm Terry Kolath with your Academy information from Monday, the 20th of June. At 10:15, we have Talking is the New Typing, a technology class in the Mandatory Room on the island. Sign up is required. At 10:30, our Anatomy of Words class continues to meet in the Oak Room of the Woodlands, and they welcome everyone. At 1 o'clock, Mahjong Defense and Strategies continues in the Country Kitchen on the second floor of the Arbor. And at 1:15, we have a Basic iPad 2 class starting. This is in the Technology Teaching Center on the island, and sign up is required.
Menus for Monday. In the Crystal Room, the Crystal platter is stuffed cabbage with brown red potato and asparagus. The dinner special is Old Home Cooking Night for $13.95. The soup of the day is tomato. In the Island Cafe, the sandwich special is a chili cheeseburger with fries for $7.75. And the Palm Grill is closed on Mondays. All menus are available 24 hours a day at www.shellpoint.net.
Hi, I'm Sunny Torres, the Director of Spiritual Services for Shell Point. And today I would like to start off with a question for you. When was the last time that you did something for the first time? That's a good question. It makes you think. And I'm not advocating jumping out of an airplane with a parachute on your back or climbing Mount Everest, but I'm particularly thinking about people in our community who maybe haven't ever visited the pavilion before. And I imagine that everybody here probably in general has a friend or a neighbor that has come to the pavilion, the skilled nursing facility, after having a hospital stay or surgery, and has been a resident here temporarily at the pavilion, or someone who lives here permanently as a resident. But I imagine all of us have contact with somebody that has been here at the pavilion. And I'm just taking this opportunity to officially invite you to come over here and visit the pavilion and visit a neighbor. You know, for the past 3 years, I think I've spent the majority of my waking hours at the pavilion, and I love it. I just love it here, and you're probably wondering why I love it so much. But it's because I feel that at the pavilion, I can make a difference in this world. And it may be in a small way, but I can make a difference. And I think that many people don't realize how much potential we have to be spirit lifters for our friends and neighbors that are over here. I have a wonderful hero, my mother. She lives over at Parkwood, and she has had a neighbor that's been here for about a month now that's recovering from a surgery. And my mom and her 3 friends every Friday have come over here and spent 2 to 3 hours playing bridge with their neighbor. just to make the time go by faster for her and to feel the support of friendship during this time she's here. So my mother's way of loving her neighbor has been translated into action. And I think that for each person that lives in our community, I imagine sometimes you might wonder, what can I do to help somebody to be a good neighbor? And this is a wonderful place to begin. I think everybody needs to, I've discovered a key to life, and it's this, that giving is living. And I think the more that we turn ourselves inside out for others, it makes us feel more alive. And it's a wonderful key to our own well-being, is to be able to give of ourselves. And I used to think the opposite. I used to think that if everybody gave me everything I needed and wanted, I'd be happy, but it did not work that way. It's kind of like those black hole stars that have such gravity, they soak up everything into them and pull everything in and never are filled. But it's the opposite. It's the giving that makes us feel alive. And I'm going to quote a principle from my favorite book, the Bible, in Isaiah 58, and it says there, if you draw out your soul to the hungry and satisfy the afflicted soul, then the Lord shall cause your light to rise in the darkness, and your gloom will become like the noonday. Our own gloom can be transformed by drawing out our soul to people that are afflicted or going through difficult times. So please accept my invitation to come over to the pavilion and make a difference in a world right here. And if you do come, it won't probably be the last time. If it's your first time, I bet you'll come back, because I think of our, I call them the Blue Coat Brigade, the auxiliary that comes over here and spends many, many days out of their week serving our residents over here. Those volunteers have discovered the key, and I think that it's probably one of the best places in the world to find that you have potential to be a good neighbor to someone. So hopefully we'll see you soon.
Thank you for joining us for today's program. Tomorrow we'll learn about prepping for an Academy on the Go trip with Bev Chandley. And I will bring you part 3 of my series on interesting places here at Shell Point. Until then, this has been Shell Point Today for Monday, June 20th. I'm Dan Philgreen, thanking you for watching, and we will look forward to seeing you again for tomorrow's show.